Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this great session that ICT has put together for us, and it's indeed a privilege and honor to really stand in front of Vermont and the great representation from the academic community of this part of the Tamil Nadu. So, my job, every time I get an opportunity to talk, I'm always a first speaker. I don't know how to take this, but it's a difficult job to set the context on the platform for my colleagues to really take on. And for the next 30 minutes, I'm going to really walk you over what VMware is all about. So the expectation is that it'll give a perfect perspective on why we should really be part of VMware IT Academy, and why we should really jointly put together our energy to really promote VMware IT, VMware technology among academic community. So there are I presume that you all know about the current wave of technology in the name of digital transformation. So we are part in, whether we know the definition of digital transformation or not, we are already part of that notion of digital transformation. And according to one of the popular analysts, we are into third generation digital transformation. Digital transformation, as you all know, it's all about using technology to really change the way we live. In a sense, using technology to really morph our lifestyle. It could be on the professional, it could be on the personal, it could be on the social front. Go back to the mobile days where we had Nokia phones, and look at where we stand with our smartphones. Look at how smartphone has changed our life. So that's what I meant by the impact of digital technology on our personal and professional and social life. So I'm going to talk about how VMware is in the forefront of driving the technology that will enable us to digitally transform our life, our business, right? Because if you don't have an enabler, obviously you won't be able to fully capitalize on the technology development to the benefit of the community, to the benefit of the society, to the benefit of the world. So that way we are proud to really claim that that we are sort of catalyzing this transformation, using by enabling our customers to really digitally transform their business, enabling our customer to digitally transform the life. Right, and here it really anywhere spans. It spans the entire spectrum of influence. Spans anywhere between the personal thing, right from how how we really drive the Facebook in a secured manner, to how we really impact impact the healthcare, how we really impact education, how we really impact other industries that are the dominant play in shaping the economy, right? So with that, though we basically, globally, we have over 250,000 customers. I've not put down all the customer names, which are like Fortune 100, Fortune 500, and Fortune 1000 or whatever. I really called upon few names here which you are familiar with here in India, right? And these names have one thing in common, I should really say. It is, it's that VMware is really fueling the business. VMware in many form and function is helping them transform the business digitally. So let's take an example of SBI. How many of you know the entire SBI runs on VMware? Right from delivering your ATM experience to your teller experience in each one of the, in over 17,000 branches in India, to to driving the server that really drives, that basically manages that stores your account details, stores your transactions, stores your credit card information. SBI is entirely SBI today runs on VMware, okay? Another interesting thing is that, that election commission. How many of you know that, that last general election, parliament election, was fully automated by NIC by having their application run on VMware-powered infrastructure? So we are proud to claim that, that we really powered the Election Commission of India to really, to automate most of the process involved in transforming how they run the election digitally. That's quite an accomplishment. That really tells us that how dominant VMware platform is. So what do we cover? Okay, in the name of digital transformation, in the name of infrastructure for driving digital transformation, we look into 6 different vectors of any enterprise. Any enterprise that's supposed to be like modern, what I call a modern enterprise. So traditionally, you must have heard about compute. Every enterprise, in a legacy way, we used to call it data centers. Every one of the data centers should have a compute in some form. It could be tower server, it could be blade servers, it could be routers, and it could be like storage devices. But it should have compute. It should have network. It should have storage. And all of them should be like, operating in a much more like in a secured environment, because the threats are ever growing, and you should have a peace of mind that your enterprise is secured. So security is an important 4th pillar. The 5th pillar of a modern data center that drives digital transformation in any business is cloud. You need to be able to leverage the cloud, and VMware sort of seamlessly enables you to leverage the cloud. And the 6th important vector is basically the endpoint devices, or called end user devices like your mobile phone. You need to be able to securely provide a digital experience to your business from your mobile phone, anywhere from the world. So VMware infrastructure allows customers to really address these pillars, the needs of these 6 pillars of his enterprise, using our assets, using our infrastructure, right? And all these 6 pillars in its entirety is called a software-defined data center. In essence, VMware sort of simplifies realization of the data center, which is a foundation for your digital transformation or driving digital transformation, entirely with software stack. Customers no longer need to deal with proprietary arrays and devices from multiple vendors. They buy a bunch of blades, assemble them in the rack, and deploy VMware SDDC, and they have the data center fully powered by VMware, and they're ready to go. And that can really address all these 6 vectors of any typical data center that you need, right? So I said that we are in the 3rd generation wave of digital transformation. Why did I say so? So when digital transformation was sort of devised by the technology community, so it was dealing with how we can really optimize your the capital cost and the operational cost, right? And the 2nd generation technology focused more on advancing the operational cost optimization. Operational cost is traditionally known as OpEx. How do you basically automate it to make it a lot more smarter and sophisticated? And now we are in the 3rd generation where we want to deliver more value by applying artificial intelligence and machine learning, so that we can really we can predict what customer would need, and accordingly help you automate your business so that you can deliver more value instead of worrying about managing the infrastructure. That's a value that the VMware provides with the 6-layer stack. So we can talk about all these customers. Each one of them has a specific business needs. We really help them really accelerate their business through the digital transformation using our infrastructure. So with that, so the core of the value that VMware brings is basically that VMware software connects and manages and automates the world's digital infrastructure. So we not only provide the digital infrastructure to run your application, we also provide a very comprehensive suite of management capability that allows you to manage it in a seamless manner. Whether you have this software, VMware software deployed in your data center, or you have a VMware software deployed on a public cloud like AWS, or we have your application or data center stretched between a public cloud and a private cloud, which is also known as a hybrid cloud. So VMware software basically allows you to automate everything to do with realizing, managing, and monitoring the infrastructure for you. And it forms a digital foundation that powers the application and services transforming your business. So generally, you must have heard about the terms like workload, application, services, microservices, containerized application, and all that. So VMware really, in a typical modern architecture, these are the buzzwords that represent different forms of architecture patterns with which you can realize your business applications. So VMware can really safely and seamlessly allows the customer to really deploy them on the infrastructure and manage them, monitor them, control the life cycle of them. Doesn't matter whether the application is running on the infrastructure in your glass house or the application is deployed on the public cloud to save your cost, or the application is deployed on, or part of the application is deployed on a mobile phone. Doesn't matter where it's deployed, it allows you to really provide you a seamless experience to the customer. So what does it mean? It means that you are freed of, traditionally, like most of the time is being spent, most of the investment, at least 10 to 12% of your typical IT in a modern business, businesses tend to spend in automating their business. Which, those days, like 10 years ago, those investments typically go in buying servers and hiring an army of people to really drive your IT. With the VMware infrastructure, the scenario would drastically change, wherein the investment is likely to come down by almost like 80% when it comes to managing the infrastructure. But the value would shift from managing the infrastructure to developing your core business by providing, by making your business agile, by providing and adding more value to your business, by way of automating the experience that deliver to your customer. So it means that the VMware infrastructure helps you deliver the agility that's needed for your business so that you can grow your top line, continue to improve your bottom line. Bottom line improvement would come from cost saving, and the top line improvement would come from getting to more customer, getting to more market by providing a world-class customer experience to your customers. So I think with the digital transformation wave, the customer expectations are like, is growing up. It's sort of there's like an ever-growing demand in the customer experience. A typical example is basically Zomato. Okay, look at how Zomato has changed the food delivery experience. Right, VMware basically sort of enables Zomato to really drive that. Accelerated disruption. Accelerated disruption requires for you to be a lot more agile. Otherwise, somebody else will disrupt your business instead of you disrupting. So VMware enables that. Then VMware sort of helps VMware infrastructure helps customer address the complexity by making sure that we drive the automation to the core. It means that we are going to simplify deployment of your application on our infrastructure and, in fact, deployment of the infrastructure itself. And we are growing stronger in security. We really continue to provide secured environment, secured SDDC for the customer to deploy their application. This really doesn't matter whether the application is accessed from a mobile phone or application is accessed from your desktop or a web top, or using bots. VMware can really secure an enterprise. And finally, VMware can really help you optimize the budget and by the way of optimizing your OpEx and CapEx. And VMware also drives technology, fuels the technology evolution and adoption in the enterprise. It could really, it spans right from automated home to the self-driving car, to the wearables, to drones, to mobile payment, to leveraging the cloud across the board. We'll talk about, we'll see how that happens through a stack. So just reiterate that we are the digital foundation with our SDDC offering. We are the digital foundation for any modern infrastructure or modern data center, as I call it, with a three-vector strategy where we really provide consistent infrastructure. In the sense that whether you deploy our infrastructure in the name of SDDC on your private cloud, where you have a rack in your glass house and deploy the infrastructure, or deploy it on Amazon, Azure, or Google's of the world, we make sure that the infrastructure remains the same. Which means that that once you have an army of people who are trained to program to VMware infrastructure, irrespective of where you want to run your application, that particular experience holds. Nothing else change. Which is equivalent to hey, today you basically to deploy an application, you create a VM in your data center. And tomorrow your business strategy changes that you want to really move the assets, move your data center to the cloud. In a typical conventional world, most of the customers, in absence of VMware, they would really rewrite the program. They need to rewrite the program to the cloud. With the VMware consistent infrastructure strategy, you can really take the VM that's running on your data center and run it on AWS without any change. Look at the power. You have trained data center administrators who are trained to use vSphere in our management console, and they can continue to use the management console irrespective of where the VMs are run. And the nuances of dealing with the cloud, that's our cross-cloud strategy, which means that you can have a data center design wherein you have a part of your application running on your data center for security reason, for other reasons as well. And part of the applications running on Amazon, part of the application running on Azure, another part of the application running on Google for various reasons. Now, without VMware infrastructure, you've got to worry about dealing with 4 different deployments, right? You've got to worry about writing your application to 4 different cloud providers' APIs, because every cloud provider API is different, and every cloud provider has different kind of service level at different cost. VMware seamlessly, with our consistent infrastructure strategy, manages all that for you. It means that once you know how to program your application to VMware infrastructure, this all taken care. You can just specify your criteria, whether you want to optimize the system, your application for the cost or performance, or reliability or availability. VMware infrastructure, consistent infrastructure model will automatically find out the right cloud for you to run. Right? That's the power of consistent infrastructure. Consistent operation, yeah, we have a single pane of glass. We have a single interface that allows you to deploy your application wherever you want. Right? Now that the power that you can move the VM anywhere that you want, you can move the application to any device that you want, we can really manage this using a consistent operational model. Right? We have really advanced automation mechanisms that will allow you to really optimize your deployment of the application in a seamless manner to really suit your business objectives. Right? Third thing is very important, which is internal security. So once your elements, once your application data moves out of your digital boundary, in this case traditionally it is your enterprise glasshouse or data center, security is an important aspect. I would say that is a fundamental aspect. That's a peace of mind for you. So VMware makes all this happen. The cross-cloudishness of your application happens using inherent security within the infrastructure. And I never heard of anybody breaching our hypervisor. We have opened up many challenges in the US in the name of security, in many of the security conferences and events. Nobody could break our hypervisor. And everything is foundation. Hypervisor is foundational for all these 3 vectors. So most of our security evolves around a hypervisor. Because since hypervisor has a control over VM and what runs inside the VM, it can really easily spot any kind of anomalies and help you really isolate it and help you cure it. Right? That's the power of infrastructure that we really deliver. And this is a super slide, I call it. I mean, this single slide really captures the essence of our strategy. So our essence of strategy, we have a three-tier approach where you can basically have your infrastructure or your digital foundation on any cloud, in the sense that you can have a hybrid cloud which consists of your glasshouse and any of the public cloud in any combination, and you can have just a pure public cloud, or you can have a telecom cloud to really run your telecom applications, and to the edge. Like for example, that I have 10 different training institutes, and each one of them we want to now digitally stream. And I can have a branch offices, in a branch office, what we call the edge in our paradigm, and delivered and powered by the core. Right? Depending on your subscription needs at the edge, like for example, you have 10 different students who are taken a particular module. For a particular duration, that module could be sort of loaded to the edge on demand, and could be served the needs of the student, and then during the next class, you can really load 10 different modules by delivering 10 different VMs to the edges. That's the agility that it can deliver. I've just taken a simple example in academic, but for example, you go to Walmart, you go to Reliance stores. Each one of the Reliance stores is the edge for us. Right? Each one of the stores could run promotional event based on the store's needs. And you can download the promotional components and package them in the container VM from your core, from your cloud, and deliver to each one of the Reliance stores, assuming the Reliance store is powered by VMware stack. Right? That's the power of edge computing. That serves as your digital foundation on which you are going to run any application. The application could be in packaged as a cloud-native application to be run on the cloud. Could be containerized application running inside Unix or Windows virtual machines of VMware, or it could be a purely as software as a service model, right? Where it's sort of born on the cloud or basically developed with the cloud first strategy in mind. And or it could be a traditional three-tiered, fourth generation application, where you have a database, middleware, and UI, the components. So those applications, and all of them you would run, in the initial layer in a secured manner. And the last one is interesting. Last one is that that you could basically run certain components of the application safely and securely on any device. And the security infrastructure that really cuts across all this is so powerful that that you can have a policy-based mechanism wherein if your device is used within a campus where the perimeter is secured, it can really provide a full access to whatever you are designated to access. When you move out of the campus, when you move out of the digital boundary, it's going to apply policies to decide what to provide, what kind of access you should get. For example, it may not allow you to access some of the sensitive documents, right? That's a kind of granularity of control of security that you could have when you run the certain components of the application on the device. With our IoT strategy, we could really safely discover, securely onboard, monitor and manage devices using the way in a way that's similar to you manage a typical mobile phone in your data centers, right? So that's the power of IoT. So that's what the any device layer really is signifies. So you can literally run your application. Doesn't matter whether it's one targeting your bring your own device or your smartphone runnable application to your IoT runnable application. We can really safely and securely onboard them to your enterprise. So this is the power of our stack, and we have components that really drives the discovery and deployment of all these three. It's called STDC. So what's the value that we're delivering to the customer? We are sort of helping them accelerate the cloud journey so that they can be a lot more agile and draw the value of the cloud. And we also help them really transform the networking and security by digitally allowing them to digitally control the network. How many of you are of SDN, software-defined networking? Great. Yeah, software-defined networking is really gaining a lot of momentum wherein you commoditize the hardware, no longer really pay heavy premium for customized hardware. Commoditize the hardware, make it really do just switching, but implement all the value proposition in software by virtualizing those network functions. Be it switching, be it loading, be it load balancing, be it firewalling, be it intrusion reduction. You move all of them away from your proprietary hardware to a commodity hardware. It gives you immense power to really combine multiple assets, each one of them bring different value, and allow you to really compose your own network infrastructure, virtual network infrastructure. So VMware basically is a leader in SDN, right? And then finally, in Empower Digital Workspace, this is one that I was talking about, managing and securely discovering, managing, and securely onboarding your application on any of the end-user computing devices, which could be a tablet, mobile phone, or IoT devices. So I think our motto is really enable a customer create new value so that they're not worried about the infrastructure and worried about managing the infrastructure, and enable them to deliver excellent experience on our platform, and finally help the customer protect the brand and the trust. So that's all about VMware. And these are the questions at the end, but I just want to tell you how we have organized in India to really enable our global team to really deliver these values to a customer. So VMware India is sort of founded 13 years ago. It's basically a subsidiary of VMware US. We have over 5,500 people spanning across different functions, and out of 5,500, 3,000 of them are R&D. And you name any product in our portfolio, we have an R&D presence in India, right? And we have IT, we have global support, HR, finance, business operation, and other periphery functions as well being driven out of India. So we have a very significant presence. We have we have over 2,000 people in Bangalore, and over 800 people in Pune, and the rest of them are in Chennai. Right? And we have sales and marketing divisions, marketing groups across all over India and most of the metros and second-tier cities. So as you can see, 22% of the global workforce is here in India. That way we have very strong influence on what gets made and how it gets made. And we are the third largest location, outside of I'd say, Palo Alto, which is where our headquarters is. And we'll soon surpass this and we'll be the number one. And we'll surpass our headquarters and be the number one. And Pat recently met Prime Minister Shri Modi and reassured that our commitment to India is going to be $2 billion over next few years. And we are putting up another facility which can really house another 2,000 to 3,000 people in Bangalore. And we are setting up another big facility of our own in Pune, which can really, which can accommodate up to 1,200 people. And significant investment in talent through both organization, organic and inorganic growth. We have been acquiring a lot of companies as well. Because VMware has been very, very strategic about its organic innovation and opportunistic about the acquisition to fill the gap in the portfolio to remain competitive. But last week we acquired 2 companies worth $5 billion. Right? So we are so committed to strengthening our portfolio to really help our customer really digitally transform and grow. So Epic 2 is our DNA. This is what we really preach and practice there in our campus. So it's all about execution. Ultimately, when it comes to delivering value, delivering innovation, execution is core. Creativity is one aspect where you really create new ideas. But unless it's paired with really world-class, flawless execution, it remains as an idea. So we are proud to claim that that execution is core of our DNA, right? Innovation is given, and we are passionate about anything that we do, whether it's technology innovation, whether it's execution of the innovative ideas, or whether it's driving the driving our social, driving our commitment to the society. We are very passionate about it. Now, my colleagues will talk about our foundational effort in terms of what VMware is trying to do, or in the form of giving it back, and integrity is core. Integrity is one of our a core of our customers, our top priority, and finally the community is an important vector of our DNA. So we want to make sure that that we really give back to the community and complete the 360 of the VMware values. So what do we do in India? In addition to building the product, we also make sure that while the product development focuses on delivering products and values globally, we have India's focused initiative that we run to make sure that our portfolio is a lot aligned to the needs of the customers here in India. So we have 4 vectors. I think we make sure that we really continue to make our execution engine world-class one. It means that continue to help them, continue to train them, and make sure that they really are seen and act as a world-class architects and world-class engineers. And we also run many of the out-of-band programs to really foster the culture of innovation here locally. Just for information, the teams teams in India file over 150 patents and 150 disclosures every year, right? And we have an average of almost 20 publications on tier 1 journals. That's the kind of advanced development and research that we drive out of India, right? And then we also, as I said, customer is one of the important vector of our DNA. So we make sure that we align our efforts with the needs of the customer here in India, and to make sure that we really hear the customer. We have multiple platforms and forums that we drive for our customers in India. And obviously, we have to make sure that to be successful here, we have to stay connected with the ecosystem. It typically consists of government, academic, and other other global innovation players, like VMware, and industry bodies like NASSCOM and startups. We play an active role in all those sub-vectors of ecosystem engagement. Culture, again, that's core, and we make sure that the diversity, inclusion, imperatives are really mandated at every level that we act on. Right from our recruitment to the way we organize ourselves, D&I, values are reflected. Customer centricity is again the core, and VMware Foundation is a platform to give back to the community. right? And we do wide spectrum of activities to make sure that that we engage our employees in the give back program. It's not only giving money, right? It's giving hands, right? I mean, please go to VMware.com to really learn more about what we do for this community, right? I mean, this is above and beyond the corporate social responsibility commitment that's mandated by the government. Like we people are very passionate about giving back, right from not only it's at India level, but even globally. Our CEO is so committed to it. Like in the recent VMware talk that really, got over last week. The center stage was about our commitment to the community. Right? In the process, we really showed how we enabled the, community, how we really used our technology to really, accelerate and catalyze, what we deliver to the community. Having said that, so this sort of summarizes, some of the items that I mentioned in this. So we have been working very closely as part of our academic, research collaboration. We have been working very closely with IIT and IISc. We fund some of the research programs. And then we also really get their PhD interns to work at our campus through our internship program. We have a very comprehensive internship program. And we also have been working with the telecom GICs to really co-innovate. We have been working very closely with the NASCOM on industry body and Women in Code and Grace Hopper and all our other engagement that we do with industry bodies. And we have been working very closely with Dell. Obviously, Dell owns us, so I think, but above and beyond that, we have been working very closely to really co-innovate, and we also have been working with the government bodies to really influence them wherever it's appropriate to make it win-win for both of us. So, sorry. So our culture and tech for good is as I said, this is one of the core mandate practiced across the board. Right from our our board to the engineers on the ground, they are being driven by the so-called tech force for good as a core of our culture, right? And I'd love to really talk about all these four vectors, but running out of time, so I need to really cover some of the core thing. So diversity and inclusion is basically really matters to VMware. I mean this particular one picked up very recently. And right from our our board to the exec staff to to every level, we make sure that we really we follow this diversity and inclusion practice mandated by the corporate. And diversity doesn't mean that gender diversity. Yeah, we strongly believe that diversity brings a lot of creativity to the room, and we want to fully capitalize on it. Inclusion is really important. And we run very comprehensive set of training program for our employees to really make sure that that they understand what does real inclusion mean and practice that. So these are some of the VMware Foundation effort that I mentioned to you. We do a lot of foundation work across the board. But most of them are centered around Bangalore, but we are now slowly reaching out to other parts of the country to really make them bigger impact. I mean, they are around Bangalore and Pune to be precise. Tara, I think my colleague will talk about Tara. This is another revolutionary idea that we are trying to practice. And but again, it's it's for social good, right? So this is basically the final mark I want to leave it here with you. Is basically we are Fortune 100 best companies to work for in 2018, and sort of elected by 100 best places to work in IT, and Forbes 2018 America's best large employers, and Fortune Change World 2018 and Just 100. These are some of the testimony for what we do for the technology, the society, and our employees and our customers. So this slide sort of illustrates our journey, and if you look at it, I think this was sort of funded by a bunch of geeks in Stanford, right? And there's a saying in Silicon Valley, I don't know how many of you heard about it. Any corporate that started for social good will succeed. Any corporation that's founded to really make money will lose its identity over a period of time. Yeah, they may be successful in business, get acquired, and forgotten. But VMware was founded to really drive green initiatives, where it was sort of, there was a time when it was founded, there was a big crunch, there was a lot of talk about, green IT. People are struggling on how to realize that, right? So it added up to the so-called the greenhouse gases. We were worried about how can you contain it, and VMware has been playing a very significant role. What I've not talked about is our effort towards sustainability. Right? We do a lot of work with the government as well as NGOs on sustainability. But we are proud to really claim that we started with the social good, cause for good in mind. Today we are into our 20th year. Right? And we are becoming a dominant player just like other, the Gang of Four. Right? That's the reason it's really important. That's the reason it's really important for the upcoming generation to really know more about our technology. Right? Why I say so? So as I said, globally we have 250,000 plus customers who use VMware in different form and function. Right? And all this infrastructure need to be managed. Though we really automate, we want to make sure that a customer really focus on developing and shaping their business to really draw more value from the business instead of worrying about infrastructure. How can they do it? Yeah, we can provide part of it. Other part has to come from the people. And they need to be trained on our infrastructure. They need to understand what VMware does, what VMware technology does, so that we can together bring the multiplier effect to the customers. So if we go back to the first slide, where I listed down the customers in India, Fortune 100 or Fortune 500 customers in India, all of them desperately need VMware trained people, VMware trained professionals. Right? Recall, we are controlling directly or indirectly 6 critical, I call it pillars of any data center, any modern data center. We virtualize compute. There are a whole lot of programming that needs to happen to really make this compute a lot smarter to meet your business needs. We can provide raw compute management capability to align with your business needs. You need to program that. Right? We still are not there to really to apply artificial intelligence technique to read customers' mind and accordingly configure ourselves. So our customers need people who are trained on VMware infrastructure, who are knowledgeable how to program to VMware infrastructure, so that they can align the infrastructure with their business objective to drive their business digitally, effectively, to be agile. Right? So that's an important part. The second thing is network. Network is becoming super complex. Hardly few colleges really teach about SDN. So we want basically, we are looking for a platform where we can really, present our SDN story, and through with your help, reach out to the community so that they are trained to really, administer our SDN infrastructure, program our SDN infrastructure so as our customer can draw more value from our infrastructure. Same with storage. Our storage technology is evolving, but it is not keeping pace with the compute and network. Network and storage compute has advanced far, but storage still still need to catch up. So there's a lot more opportunity, not only managing them and program them to draw more value, but also to contribute. It means that if a student really deeply familiar with the VMware infrastructure, not only that he will be hired, he'll have an opportunity from our customer, but also from VMware. We are also looking to build solution for our customer, and today there's literally big gap between what's needed and what's available. Right? Imagine that today we have a pain. Not only as our customers are having pain in getting the fresh talent from the market and retrain them, recast them to really to VMware infrastructure. There's a big gap. I can talk about hundreds of customers that I really interact with them on a day-to-day basis. This is a big gap. We have a comprehensive training program, but that's not going to be good enough. But if you really catch them young and teach them about VMware technology, it's going to go a long way. Okay? Similarly, security is an evolving field. We are just scratching the surface. Great opportunity to marry what's being taught in the name of cybersecurity in the industry, what's being practiced, and we can together address the needs. Right? So those are the value propositions that I see, and that's a critical focus of this particular summit. Right? So with that, I just want to share with you a video that sort of shows our core value directly from employees. Can you play this video, please? The summary of my message is simple. We are becoming the dominant players. Okay? And we are leading. We are leading the change, and we are the change. for the simple reason that we provide seamless experience, which enables our customer to preserve the investment in the infrastructure and the trained manforce that they have, right? But at the same time, it presents immense opportunity for the younger generation to really learn about it, not only from the point of view of administrator, but also from the other end of the spectrum, a developer. We really cover the entire spectrum of infrastructure involved in between administrator and the developer, right? And we basically, anything that you name, any technology component that you name in the typical modern application architecture for cloud or generally for IT, we have a easy way to really deploy, manage, and protect, right? So because of that very reason, I consciously believe that the academic ecosystem need to acknowledge and adapt to VMware to really make both of us successful in this game, and that'll basically together we can deliver great value to the customer and community, right? So with that, thank you very much for the opportunity, and I'd be happy to take any questions during the break, right?
We have a separate time allocated for that.
Thank you very much again.